Okay, throughout the semester we're going to learn to turn our homework in by using an FTP program. And what this FTP program is where you actually send your files from your computer to my web server, so that I can link it up and we could see your homework. We could see it together, plus other students can see what you're working on, and we'll build like a community so that everybody can see what everybody else is doing. So in order to send your files to my computer, you need to use a program. Now, if you're in a Dreamweaver class, it's probably built right into Dreamweaver. Okay, so I will explain that. If you're not in a Dreamweaver class, I recommend using the FileZilla. Let me shrink this down so you can see the whole web page here. FileZilla is a free FTP program. I know I wrote on my website I use WSFTP. Either one, I just got used to that because I was using my old Windows XP computer and it was on it, and that's what I was using. But now I have a brand new Windows 7 computer, and I just put FileZilla on it, and I'll probably be using this throughout the semester to show you what to do or those kind of things. So in this case, either have FileZilla or Dreamweaver. You just download and install on your computer, depending on if you have Mac or Windows. It doesn't really matter. It's a free program. The website is filezilla-project.org, or just search on Google for FileZilla, and I'm sure you'll find it. Once you download it, it's quite an easy program, and I'm going to show you how to use it right now. The FileZilla program works by showing you your computer, which would be hold on, I'm organizing this here, which will show you your computer on this side over here, and then you could see your pathway. And in fact, you can see my computer here. I got my desktop, my documents, my computer. So you need to be a little bit organized, maybe even before you start. Make sure you have what you want to send in the folder, and you know where it's located on your computer. In this case, on my desktop is where I have my files that I want to send, and I just have some basic files in somewhere on my desktop here. Getting used to Windows 7 myself. Let's see here. It's on the desktop somewhere. Not there. Oh, it just jumps to desktop. Here we go. Once I find my desktop here, you'll see I should have file samples. That's the ones I want to send. File samples right here. So I worked on some files, and I want to send them to the web server, so I have them. I know where they're located over here. Now I will email each class a login and password. Where you put the login and password in FileZilla is up here towards the top of the screen. The host will be where the computer is at. In this case, we're going to use my web server. So I'm going to type in www.raskov.com. So that will be the same for everybody's. Okay, so the host will be raskov.com, but the username and password will be different for each class. In this case, I made a test one, and I will send you everybody an email with all the information in there, what to put in the host, username, and password. In this case, I have a test site, so I'm going to put test at, make sure you put the @ sign in there when I tell you to put the @ sign in there, raskov.com, and then the password is going to be whatever I send you. If I can remember what my password is here. And then when I hit connect here, it'll actually show me my web server over here. So if I hit connect, and hopefully I typed everything right, it'll connect. Now there's nothing in this folder at this point because it's a brand new folder, and what you're looking at here is actually a folder on my Raskov web server. So it's basically a folder that's there that I can go and look at. And remember, all the students in the class will have access to this folder. So what we need to do is kind of organize it into folders. You know, just like you would organize the folders on your computer, you need to organize it on the web server. So what I want you to do is put your first name and last name in a folder, and then put all your files in there, and you can organize it by week is what I would recommend. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to right click on this folder right here, okay, and I'm going to create a directory. So again, once you connect, if you're using FileZilla here, you can connect over here. This will be the web server on this side. Once you have it over here, you see how it says remote site over here, or down here. I think you can right click there and say enter directory, create directory. You can do it either here or here. Actually, let's do it down here. I think this would be a better spot. So down here towards this lower right corner window, if I right click on that folder down there, I could say create directory. Directory is basically a folder. So I say create directory. I'm going to put in my name, Jeff underscore Raskoff, and I don't like to use spaces on web servers, so I tend to use the underscore. Okay, so tend not to use space. So put your first and last name with an underscore in there so that everybody has a unique folder on this web server. And so there I go. I made a folder, and you can see it right there. And so each student, you'll see a big long list of folders right here. Next, I'm going to put a folder inside of the folder I just made. And the reason why is because I want to put my, let's say, my first week's homework there, or my second week's homework there. So if I click on my folder, I can then again another right click and say create directory, and this time I'm going to say this is going to be Raskoff. How about we use our first name underscore week 2. Okay, so for my second week work, Raskoff underscore week 2. And oh, it didn't put it in my folder. Why didn't it put it in my folder? Well, the reason why is because I wasn't inside my folder when I made that. And what do you mean by inside my folder? Well, if I double click on my folder here, oh, it went inside, and you can see the path there. So again, I like making lots of mistakes so I can fix them. So I wasn't inside my folder when I made my folder, so that's why it left it up there at the top level. I'm going to go back to the top level. Oh, how did I do that? Well, I clicked up here on this folder up there, and it kind of jumped me back up. So again, this is like having folders on your computer. You can go down levels and up levels, and down levels and up levels. So I really wanted this Raskoff week 2 in my folder. Can I drag it in there? Sure, I can drag it in there. I just clicked on it. If I had it on the top level and I dragged it into my name, and it went inside that folder. Now if I click up here on my name, you'll see that, oh, it's actually inside there. So next what I want to do is I want to send the files to my folder. So you're just going to have to think about a web server and this FTP program being kind of like being like the computer on your any other computer where you can make files and folders, and be careful not to delete other people's stuff too. I don't have time to set every student up with their own FTP, so we're just going to have to go and deal with people's folders, and you have to get used to it. I work with people where I don't want to delete their stuff. Excuse me. Next, I'm going to open up this folder right here where it says Raskoff Week 2 by double-clicking on it. Again, there's nothing in the Raskoff Week 2 here, so what I want to do is put my homework in there. So I have my samples here, and if I double-click over here, these are my samples. I made some SVG samples. I could either send them directly, or I can send that folder with all of them in it at the same time. One way you could do it is you could send one file at a time by clicking and dragging it over here. I just click and hold the left mouse down and drag over there. Now it's going to send it into that folder. There it goes. Or I can actually use the Shift key and select multiple ones and send those at the same time also. And there they go. So they're all in my folder for week 2, and then I can email the instructor and say, Jeff, I've uploaded my homework into my folder. Please go and evaluate. So again, I'll link up a video maybe of how FileZilla works. I'm making this video for you. So if you don't have Dreamweaver, Dreamweaver is a great way of doing this, but if you don't have Dreamweaver, FileZilla is a great application to do this. Let me show you how to do it in Dreamweaver if you have Dreamweaver. Let me disconnect. This is the thing that bothered me about this program, was how to disconnect. Disconnect. It was under server disconnect. So there's a way to disconnect, and what I want to do is I don't want to stay connected to my server. You might make a mistake. You might mess up my web server, whatever. So when you're done sending all your files to your folder, okay, make sure you organize your folder with all your different weeks of homework in there. I can go under the server disconnect right now, and boom, you're not connected to the web server anymore. If you want to connect again, you could just put in the data, or it should be in there for each week, and then you just hit connect. So that's how you use the FileZilla application. Another program you can use, of course, is Dreamweaver. Dreamweaver can be used to send your homework also. How you use Dreamweaver to send your homework is we usually use the files window, and I'll open that up in a minute. But before we start with that, you need to tell Dreamweaver where on your computer you're building your website. This is called Define Site, and in the Define Site window is where you actually tell Dreamweaver where the FTP information is. So in order to do that, we're going to go under Site, New Site, and I'm going to put in, how about we put in week 2 homework, which actually I know you're doing chapter 3 in the Dreamweaver class for this week. Next, there's a local site folder. So this local site folder needs to be your folder on your computer that you are wherever you're working. So in this case, if you're working on a chapter in a book, you would most likely choose the local site folder, would be the chapter folder in the book. So I can click on that little folder right here. Now I don't have the book stuff on the computer right now, so I'm going to go to the desktop and I'm just going to choose that sample files that I had before. So you need to learn how to surf through your computer to find the folders that you have. This is Windows 7. There's a whole bunch of different ways of doing it on Mac. There's different ways of doing it on Windows XP. You need to find the folder where you're making where you're working and put it in this window right here. You can surf through your website or through your computer right here. Next, in order to connect to the server to send your homework, though, is you got to go to the server option in this window. So I'm going to click on the server option in this window, and I'm going to hit the plus button right here. So servers plus button. Once you hit the plus button, it's going to open up the window where you put the information that I'm going to email you in. Of course, this is going to be the name up at the top doesn't really matter. It's going to be the Raskoff class. That just designates inside Dreamweaver what the name of this login is going to be. The more important is the FTP address needs to be my address. It's going to be www.raskoff.com. The username is going to be whatever I email you. I'll just have a test one right now at raskoff.com, and then I will send you a password. And if you hit the test button right here, it should connect and give you a message that says Dreamweaver connected to your web server successfully. If it doesn't say successful, you either typed in something wrong, or there could be one more option. If you have a firewall set up on your computer and stuff, sometimes if you go to the more options here inside of this Dreamweaver part here and make sure it says use passive FTP, that usually helps if you have a firewall set up or something. So if it's not connecting, you probably typed something wrong in this window here. Once you're done and it connects successfully, you can hit save. It'll open up the files window, and if you don't see the files window open inside of Dreamweaver, an easy way to open that would be under Window Files, and it'll pop up the window. Once the window is popped up, what I want to do is I want to see both my computer or my local computer, which it's showing you me right now, as well as the web server that we just told it to connect to. To actually see the web server, there's a double view over here, or dual view right here, the very last icon in this files window. If I click on that, it should show me both. It didn't. Oh, there we go. I don't know. I had to click it like twice. It's this little icon on the end over here. So it'll show you the remote server, which is the server that the web server, and then over here will be the local server over here, which will be your computer at your house. So to connect to the server, I can hit the plug button right here. Boom. And what it'll do is it'll go through and it'll connect to the server. Now, I've already made a Jeff Raskoff folder on there because I did that with the FileZilla before. But it's the same kind of operation that you saw me doing with the FileZilla, where I right-click on my folder over here, and this time instead of making directory, I'm going to say make new folder, and I'm just going to call it Jeff Raskoff. And we'll just put Dreamweaver on this one, but to designate it to Dreamweaver class. So there's a folder on this side over here. Once I make a folder over here, I can double click on it. Oops. If I can open it up, well, I guess it won't let me open it like it did in FileZilla. What you'll need to do is actually, I'm going to make a directory inside this folder over here again for each week, just like I did with the FileZilla over here. See how I made Raskoff week 1 or week 2 here? I can right click on my folder here and say new folder, and that'll put it inside there. It's a little different than the FileZilla. We'll say Raskoff week 2. Okay. It's different than this one because it's in a different folder, so it's not going to conflict with this one. Once I put my directory in there, I can then take my files that I have for my homework and I can select them. Again, you can drag one at a time into your folder, or you can drag all of them at the same time by holding the shift key down and selecting them all, and I can send them into my folder. Now, it's asking me for dependent files whenever you use the Dreamweaver application. Basically what it means is if you had files that are linked to your file, the files that you were working on, do you want to send the link files also? Well, since I'm sending everything at the same time, I'm going to say no here. And I usually do say no to this question. Again, what it's asking you is, should dependent files be included in a transfer? So if I linked a photo to one of these HTML files, it would want to try and send the photo at the same time. So maybe you do, maybe you don't. It's up to you what you want to do. Oh, it's going to send it anyways automatically because I didn't do anything. So when you're all done sending the files there, again, there's folders inside of folders here. You can disconnect right here by just clicking on the plug right here, and you can then send me an email saying I have included it. Again, everybody's going to have access to everybody else's kind of folder here, so make sure you don't delete other people's work or move files and folders around. It might take you a while to get used to, but just try and make it work, and I'll email you a login and password.